So let's get into this topic. My name is Abhijit. I am a professional, certified counselor, and a mental health professional. I have worked with corporate like IBM Daksh, Maersk, Niamo, both in manufacturing and service sectors, and have got a complete understanding that how human motivation works, what are the different aspects of human psychology which is affecting them to come up or affecting them on mental level. So today we're going to discuss about one of the most important and critical mental illness caused due to brain rot. Now this word has been the word of 2024, which has been one of the most used word and officially said that this is the concern that everybody is facing right now. So let's jump into the topic and see you in the podcast. One of the most important topic that I feel like and I felt like that has to be pulled, because last week itself, Oxford University Oxford Dictionary has titled this word as the word of the year 2024, and this word has been a buzzword for a lot many people who are working into corporate, who are utilizing a lot of social media that is there. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to understand how this mental illnesses that we are looking at and how these mental illnesses is going to be a part of our daily curriculum. So let's start with this particular part, and this is how things are going ahead. So to start with mental illness, we're going to see that this is what is happening. This is what the issue is. We are actually moving from evolution to devolution. Why it is happening so? Because we are into a free fall after computer or information age, because of which we are not able to concentrate or able to, I would say, curate our entire focus in one direction. Why it is happening so? We are going to talk about those particular issues because smartphone addiction is ramping up today. You can see this particular infographics in front of you. This is going to talk about like why, when, and where we are utilizing our mobile phones, and you will see in every spectrum, in every area of our life, smartphone have their presence. So if you see during our meals with each other, during our public transport, and that is ramping up, even in our worship place, that is where we're supposed to find a certain kind of focus, serenity, and mental calmness. There also we are utilizing phone up to 9%. Has to be 0%, but 9% definitely most of people are using it for photographing and video. But then also the usage is ramping up over there. So next 38% of our favorite place of solitude is bathrooms, where we are utilizing this particular part. And this is also very concerning, because I think our bathroom times have increased because of which, and it has also causing a lot of physical issues that are there because of our posture while sitting on the commode. We have a hunchback, we are sitting prolonged, and commodes are not designed for a comfortable seat. It is just to do your stuff and get out of it. So it is not like that. But I think tomorrow, I think marketer would market those kind of commode seats which are far more comfortable to sit and prolong your bathroom time. Next is the most dangerous one. I think it's while driving, because a lot many teens are into accident. Even if you see on our Indian context, if on in our Indian roads, you will see a lot of delivery people, a lot of delivery agents that are there. Okay, so Zepto, Zomatos, or even a general public who utilize their phone and texting while driving. I have seen myself texting while driving. That is, and that two-wheeler, not even four-wheelers. So that is pretty much a dangerous kind of a kind of a habit that we have picked up during this particular addiction. And 80% of us are carrying our phones, walking in and around the city or commuting. This is also causing a lot of issue. You might have seen this on a lot of our funny videos that are there on video on YouTube, which gives you an idea how it is there. And the major part, that is 55% of ourselves, or 55%, that is nearly half of us, usually carry our phone to our bedrooms. I think bedrooms are far more personal spaces, far more intimate spaces, not on physical level, but also on connecting with each other on mental and physical levels. But there also phones have been and they have reached into it, and that is also causing a lot of mental issues, a lot of relationship stress, a lot of relationship issues that are happening because of this. Sorry for that. So if you see, if you want to talk about like what is happening on internet on 1 minute, this is what is happening. There are like 63 lakhs of search on Google, 3.6 lakhs tweet. Instagram is uploading 7 lakh reels. Uploading, I would say it is like sent via DM. So it is also said that there is like 48 hours of content uploaded on Instagram every day. So we have 24 hours, but 48 hours of data has been like the content has been uploaded, which is we'll talk about what kind of content is. Then we have Facebook that has 40 lakh. You will see 40 lakhs of those things are there. So, so 40 lakh, you will see 40 lakh posts are there in Facebook itself in 1 minute. And then you can see WhatsApp is pumping out 416 lakh messages. Hey, hi, Sinchana. Are you there? Hello. All right. So, welcome, Sinchana. We have just started. Yeah, I've just started with this particular part. Okay. Are you able to hear me, Sinchana? Welcome to the discussion. You want to say hi or something like that? Okay. All right. I hope I am audible to you. Can I get a thumbs up? Anything? Okay. So I was talking about what happens with 1 minute on social media that is happening. We have a 48 hours of content that is there, because of which we are not able to, manage our time. That is the main thing. And the major currency that is right now on these particular platform, even Chat GPT is six. Okay, it is like 6,944 prompts submitted per minute. So the kind of content that we are pushing in, even the video streaming, that is 48 years of content to be watched, that has been pushed in 1 minute on internet, which is actually making a content avalanche on internet, which is really making us glued to a screen. And this is what entire economy, that is when you talk about the attention economy, right now the most precious resource that we have more than oil, that is the attention. And that is where the entire, no matter how much of traction we want to get on that particular part, that is more important. So if you see the next the other half of the slide, you would be able to see that there is 78% of Indian population has cell phone and connection. Okay, they have a cell phone and a connection with them, and 1 in every 3 Indians actively use social media. So we are the most online generation that is there. We are talking about those. And if you see, there is a 6 hour and 45 minutes of screen on time of an average Indian, and that is over 40% of their wake hours. So if you see we are pushing ourselves into the extremities of the attention economy, which is not really causing that much of effect on employment, in innovation, in terms of how productive we are. That is another questionable part. And if you see that every 8 seconds of time that we average might give to an Instagram post, so 8 seconds is what we watch an Instagram reel or any other reel. And we'll see why 8%, 8 seconds are like really a kind of a number that is playing with your mind. So if you see, there is a 25% of decrease in average attention span in less than 2 decades. And coming decade, I think by 2035, we will be coming to almost 50%. So if we start using internet for 6 hours 45 minutes on an average, so this is where we are heading to. This is where our entire why it is happening. We'll talk about those particular factors as well in next coming up part. Why it is so addictive, why it is happening such a way, that is also an important part. And 20 seconds in how much time an average Indian stay in a single web page. It is only 20 seconds. So now you can see we are spending 6.45 minutes, 6 hours 45 minutes on any of those particular on screen on time. but we are only spending 20 seconds on web page. That means the longer contents are not being viewed that much as possible. And why it is important, I will talk about that as well in our coming part. So these are some of the statistics that are really alarming in terms of how India and how the content creation and how the attention economy is working along. So coming to this particular part is use it or lose it. As you know, brain has a plasticity. As we use our brain, it either create a lot of neuron connection which help us in critical thinking, or if we are not utilizing our brains into different critical thinking activities. I will talk about that. What are the critical thinking activities that we do? Puzzle solving, problem solving, reading, writing, even expressing yourself into any of those particular factors that are there. So brain is habituated to be used. Your brain is never, I think it is not wear and teared by using it excessively, but our brain is facing a kind of a lethargy if you're not utilizing it, and lethargic makes your brain rust. So that is one thing. If you're not using something, it would catch rust. This is what brain rot is all about. I will call it as a brain rust. So that is what is the most important part. And to understand brain rot, which has been highlighted as the word of 2024 by Oxford Dictionary, and it has been termed the buzzword because we are heading to a global kind of a pandemic in terms of brain rot. Now, to understand this, first of all, you have to understand what is brain rot. So brain rot is a condition resulting from excessive screen timing, leading to mental and physical fatigue. And I think we are very much evident enough. We know that how much of mental energy is sucked out of us when we spend at least an hour and a half hour on any website or any not a website but application, especially Instagram or fast moving content. So it manifests into behavior like zombie scrolling. So we have this mindless scrolling that we have our no matter what, no funny how funnier the reel is or how enticing the reel is, we usually don't have any kind of emotion attached to it. We just look at it and we just forget it. So that is what is happening. Compulsive gaming is one thing that is coming up. Doom scrolling is something. And doom scrolling is like only looking at the negative stuff. We are actually looking at political issues, any kind of accident, any kind of calamity. So we are drawn to those kind of behavioral when we go online. So that is also some of the compulsive stunning. Then there is a social media addiction that is very much evident, which is causing a lot of issues like constantly checking. That is called as OCDs or phone obsession. That is a new mental health issue that is coming up. So constantly checking on missed call messages or notification, or fear of accidentally making a call on sending inappropriate message. And definitely the battery percentage. If we have like 5% of battery percentage, then we are really freaked out. The anxiety level goes like sky high. That is what is happening. Now this behavior, what is happening, it is actually diminishing our emotional engagement and cognitive function. Okay, which is like making an individual disengaged from the reality. We are living in a illusion kind of a world. So a lot of many youngsters right now, or Gen Z, or not, I'm not talking about Gen Z or anybody who is utilizing phone at that level, no matter if it is your 60 years old parents or 75 years old grandparents, or a 5 or 6 years old child who is into formative brain part. This kind of brain rot of constantly stimulated by screen timing has actually led to a functional, cognitive functional dysfunctioning, making individual feel like he is disconnected. He is not able to understand what is reality, what is illusion. And you might have seen this particular part into your daily part that is there, that people are not able to make differentiation in reality of WhatsApp and the reality that is in front of them. So we live in this kind of a bubble. That is what is happening. Okay. So obsessive thought of past and phone interaction. That is some of the areas in which phone obsession happens. Now going to the next part of our discussion, over here, effect of excessive screen time has really robbed us in terms of how emotionally we are feel. And all the apps are only designed to create virality than the value. So it is always virality versus value. They never concern about what is the value of the content. It is just like how viral, how sensational, how attention grabbing it is. So if you are someone who is watching reels on a constant level, this is going to pull you into different turmoils of emotions. Why I'm saying this, because if you see any of the reels, they are like they will last for what 30 to 20 seconds, 30 to 60 seconds, and most of the reels that you would see are of certain kind of emotions. Okay, so what you're doing, you are training your brain to go from one emotion to other emotion without even giving a break, even not even processing it, because emotions need processing. We are so much into just going and scrolling it, okay, in and out, in and out. That is not giving our brain our time. So that is why we are getting into this dopamine loop that is there. Because what, all the content that you see, most of the 70-75% of content is more of viral content. It is of repetitive, mindless activities that are there. One trending song would be there, it would be repeated by celebrities, by influencer, and that is how the loop goes on. It only creates a kind of a dopamine loop in your brain. And what happens where anticipation of new contents lead to repetition of scrolling without conscious control? What happens that dopamine is such a it is go back to our primitive brain. When you are going to this particular dopamine loop, you are able to only understand that there is something that is coming. Anticipation is created, not the reward is created. So, and dopamine is a stress hormone. It is not a relaxing hormone. So, what happens if you are on constant rule on dopamine loop? Your brain is going to exhaust because of the stress that has been created. And in order to that stress to be relieved, your brain always give you this next activity. Go on to the next reel. At least we'll get some reward, and it never happens. So this is how it is like a gambling kind of an addiction that happens. Okay, now this cycle is really exhausting, making user feel that they are complete doing some significant work, but it is not happening actually. If you're feeling depressed, you go on YouTube and you watch certain kind of reel which has a motivation quote and all those things. You watch one, you don't feel that particular motivation, you go to the next, you go to the third, you go into the fourth. This kind of reel is really making you exhausted. It is not making you completely like you feel like you have done a significant work, but it is not making that. The one ratio that you have to understand is 10 is to 30. Now what this ratio talks about, like if you are spending 10 minutes on social media, you take 30 minutes to really drain out all that cocktail of emotion that has happened during your session with Instagram of watching reel for 30 minutes or maybe 10 minutes. You will take 30 minutes to go back to your normalcy of your brain where the focus is required. So if you are looking at your mobile phone for 10 minutes in your breaks, you would be far more distracted, far more exhausted coming back to your work, or even if you're studying, or even if you're in some middle of something. So that is the effect. So emotional roller coaster ride, as I told you earlier, that because of these reels, we are on constant emotional roller coaster, because some reels are disturbing, some reels are funny, some are cute, some are angry, some of them are shocking. So these kind of emotion just makes a huge cocktail which brain is not designed to handle it. Because why understand this? Because 50 years back, our brains had a very simple simulation of reading, watching television, listening to radio, and the content was pretty much linear. It was like in one theme. We never used to have lot many channels that were there. We used to have only one program that used to come, and that's it. But now, because of Instagram and most of the reels concept that is happening, because of which we are on constant emotional roller coaster, and which is actually increasing our cognitive load and stress rather than relaxing us. We feel that it's a relaxing activity, but it is not. It is a stress related activity. So what they have understood, what the application have understood, the design of the brain. So we don't have to blame the application. We have to understand what is the design of the brain, what our brain look is looking for, and what if you provide that to your brain, you can also reduce that particular time on your any social media app, or even you can reduce your time on screen. That would prevent a brain rot. Now, when I say a brain rot, it comes up with brain fog. I would say not able to think properly, being stressed, being irritated, not able to see clearly, not making impulsive decision. All those comes into brain fog or brain rot if that kind of category is there. So first of all, we have to understand what brain looks for. It always looks for novelty. What is novelty? Is new content, new information, new experience. But what has happened in this particular part? It also, why it go for novelty? Because you want to understand the environment that he is living into. But now the entire environment is pulled on to mobile phones, because all your needs, if you look about your, your food, shelter, or whatever the hierarchy of need that we have of Maslow's, it has all been answered into the faces of app. So if you like, if you want to order a food, roti kapda makan. If you want to order food, there is Zomato, Swiggy, there are Zepto, all those applications are there. If you want to look for a property, there is like 99 acres, there is no broker. So now, if you want to go for clothes, there are a lot many applications that are there. So now you will see that the entire hierarchy of human needs are being reduced to one application that is there. So that is why there are a lot many things that are happening. And the second thing is the bubble that has been created due to this particular the bubble that brain usually look for. It will always look for familiarity. It will look for familiarity, not for unknown, but familiarity. That is what there is there. So this is the design of the brain that is understood by most of the application that is there. That's why you will see how social media content cause brain fog or brain rot is because they are putting the novelty of information, which is low on cognitive content. You will see that there are almost 4.7 users that are there on social media globally, and they are posting like 100 thousands of posts every seconds, and which are repetitive, shallow, or sensational. So you will see a lot of objectification of women on the platform. There would be a lot of political polarity that are happening. There are a lot of issues which are or there are a lot of sexist joke that are going on. There are a lot of alpha male kind of, or toxic male or toxic femininity is what has been created over there. And this has actually lead us to a low cognitive content. We are there to learn. When we are looking for novelty, we are looking for a value add into our life so that we can live better. But with this particular content that has been given to us, it is very shallow and repetitive and sensational, because of which we are onto emotional roller coaster, and this is causing a lot of exhaustion that is there. And due to this, you would always see the app would always prioritize virality over value, and virality is all about what? Sensation. Our brain are designed to look for, or they are on like a radar. It is always looking for any kind of safety or any kind of threat that is there into environment. We take safety or good things for granted, but our brain always look for any kind of threat that is there. So that is how our brain is designed. So you will always have a pushy clickbait headlines that achieve this kind of a result in next 3 days, earn 1 crore rupee in next 21 days. Or there will be a lot of things. There would be like what this celebrity has said about that celebrity and how this is there. There is a global clash down that is coming on. There is a lot of pollution. So there is a lot of clickbait headlines are there, and there are a lot of as I said, there is short dopamine triggering reels that are there. There is a lot of misinformation over depth is there, because you will see a lot of doctored videos that are there, a lot of information that has been manipulated. Some of the reels are like half shown, half truth. Why? Because we are relying so much of reel and we are becoming more impulsive. We are not signing up for a content which is longer content. Now, why I will say about why you have to go for a content which is of long play, or content which has a certain kind of a streamline of thoughts. Because if you are looking for a content which is very much impulsive, repetitive, and shallow, you would always be onto emotional roller coaster ride. And the second thing that this particular application have understood, that they are manipulating the algorithm. Okay, what is the algorithm manipulation? Is that they are making those particular app for you. Okay, all the apps are for you. If I open my app and if I compare YouTube as an app with my suggestion list, and any other person, even my wife's, if she is going through that particular app and she has a playlist that is totally different from my interest, because it is not my phone. And that is what every app is doing. They are making it personalized experience, and that is how the algorithm is developed. It is good for the application to have your attention, make you stay on the application for a longer time, so that they can push a lot of advertisement. But what they are creating, they are actually creating a rabbit hole for you. It is called as an echo chamber or rabbit hole. And what happens if you have a echo chamber or a bubble that is being created around you, and you are never ever know what is the reality that is there. Because for reality, you have to check a lot many sources that are there. You can't have yourself, whatever your belief is, whatever you personally believe in, whatever your thoughts are, whatever all those things are, that are very confined to your personality, and that is what the echo chamber is. You're not able to get any fresh content or any content that is contradictory or realistic to the the bubble that is there. So because of this, we are actually facing a very dire kind of situation in which this bubble is created and we stay in that. That is like our comfort zone of cognitive ability. So we don't have to think on any other things. We just have to be in that particular comfort zone of our playlist that has been designed by the algorithm that is there. So why it is important? Because this is how Meta has been manipulating the opinions of white liberals, white what I can say, the extremist. And this is how a lot of wars and a lot of riots and a lot of polarity that is happening is because of this particular algorithm that is there. So we have to be very much aware of what is happening. Okay, cognitive, content with low cognitive demand like memes, reels, challenges. Like we have like lava challenge, and we have lot many challenges that are going on. Reel challenge, sari challenge, whatever the challenges that are there, they are just like you are getting into this seamless, trivial kind of challenges which are not really challenging your cognitive levels. It is just making you more dumb and more repetitive. So it amplify over thoughtfulness and long format of material. Now, what has happened because of this? The virality and the kind of dopamine loop that we are into, we are not having a focused way of learning. We are making all those particular content to micro bit size, and which is dangerous. Because why it is dangerous? Because now the authors of books are also producing books. Those are micro levels, okay, micro books. Why? Because they want to match up with the attention span that is there of the user. So if you see the statistic that 60% of young adults reported that they have shorter attention span due to excessive social media use. Now this is released by Microsoft Studies 2021. And as we are speaking, it is going to raise more higher, because understand the content and the mobile phones are going to go more immersive. The data would be more impulsive. The data would be more what I can say, elaborated. The spectrum of data would be wider, and the content list would go on and on, because the kind of pace at which the content is uploaded, that is never to be matched with our attention span. So that is where what is the most important part. So 63 of teenagers feel overwhelmed by the constant need to compare their life to the other. This is a research done by PEW. That is also one of the things that when you come back from Instagram, you would always feel depressed, not motivated. So this is something that is in direction of brain rot. So why we are addicted? This is something that I want to talk about. We are addicted because we are getting this neurological wiring that we have, addiction and dopamine loop. As I told earlier, we always look for highly simulated environment more. And in if you look at reels, they are like a lot of shortcuts. There is an edit cut. There is a sound which drive your attention. There are colors that are vibrant. So these are not there into nature. You will not see bright all the time bright colors. There are like very few trees which have a bright flowers. But if you see nature as in such, it will always have a pastel kind of color scheme wherever you go. It won't have any darker shade that is shown on the on 4K resolution kind of a screen. And that's where the problem is. We are so much hooked up with the color scheme, with the edition, with the shapes that have been shown, and the kind of imagery that has been shown on the screen, that our real life usually seem to us very dull, bland, uninteresting, and because of which we tend to love to be in front of a screen rather than being in the nature. So that is also one thing. That is also a kind of overwhelming kind of experience. So if you see, the dopamine is released by showing us a bright, louder than life and engaging sounds, and all those auditory and visual experience that is there. That is what makes you drawn to the screen, and that is what they are perfected this app or act or any film that is there. So if you pick up your phone, there is an increase of dopamine because you will expect certain kind of reward will be given. You will feel happy, and when the decrease of dopamine is there, you will go back to the same loop. This is how the habit has been formulated. This is something that has been already been trial and tested on mice in laboratory. That is called a Skinner box. If you see on the slide on the corner right side, if you see there is a mouse, there are two lights, there is a speaker, there is a lever and a dispenser. So every time there was certain light was being put on, and this is like conditioning. This is called as variable reward system, or this is called as operant conditioning. This is where we are actually making mice condition to when to get reward. So in this particular part, the mice used to pull the lever whenever the light used to go on. The mice used to pull the lever. He used to get certain kind of treats, and this is how he used to register that, okay, now I'm getting treat, my dopamine is getting higher, I'm getting the reward. So he remember this particular habit as a reward seeking habit, because of which the mice have and the one thing was that this particular habit was created, and there was a variation. Now there is an operant condition. What was there? There is a variable reward system, what every application does, that they push in certain kind of content, which is like, it is a mix algorithm. Always it will not give you 10 straight, if you are into cute dogs reel, it would not give you a straight 10 reels of dogs. It will always have 5 reels of some content, then one reel of a dog, cute dog, then it will have 10 reels, then again one cute dog. So what that is called as variable reward system. Now what it happens, because of this prolonged reward that has been dispensed, because of which we have this particular anticipation of reward, and because of which we are on higher dopamine level that is there. So this is where we are being conditioned to be glued to this particular screen. That is how we have been manipulated by most of the application. Now you will say, is this ethical? It is business, I would say. At the end, what they are trying to do is they want your attention to be more, they want you to watch the advertisement more, buy more, and this is how their economic system is. And this is why the content creators have been paid to make more viral content than the value content. Okay, so this is where we are being conditioned, that particular part. So if you see, we'll press lever for food. So this is what we do. We check mobile phone just for the sake of getting that particular dopamine hit. Even we are not getting the food as such, we are just getting the anticipation. The reward system is rigged in this particular theory, and this has been very much evident. So second thing that Sai talks about is, again, we are going deeper in this particular rabbit hole. You can see Alice in the Wonderland, that she's falling deeper in this rabbit hole, because this is how the application is designed. This is how the neuroscientists who are behind this particular applications, they have designed every the setup of like button, the way they are being colored, the way they are shaped, is all been designed as per as a neurological attention span that is there, how a person would go for. So if you see the habitual nature, the automatic habit loop is something that we always go for. So like people know that, like scientists know that if you are somewhere who are like depressed, or you are bored, and we are getting bored, we are people, our brain is such a capacity. If you are not providing a simulation to our brains, or challenging activity to our brain, it will always get bored. This is something, this feeling would be very much evident when you were a child. So what would happen now? So when you get bored, what is the first thing that you do? If you're standing on the line, if you're standing in the queue outside of your ATM line, or in your bank, whenever you get bored, what you do, you just pull up the phone, look at to the screen. You know that there is nothing, but you are getting bored. What I'm supposed to do? So what has happened? This, in past, you might have seen certain reels or certain content which was really good, but as I told you, the variation of reward, or the variable rewards that they have in place, that is where these particular loops are being created. This is where the habitual nature of our own system, the way our brains have been designed, this is how it has been done. So you will see that there is a trigger like boredom, then you have a muscle memory that, okay, this is what I have to look into. Then you will reach for your phone, and instinctively you will look into that phone. That this is where the habitual nature of our brain is being elaborated. So this app knows us. App knows us better than ourselves. They know that when you're going to get bored. And now with the advanced cameras on our phone, they can actually detect what is our facial experience. So they don't have to even look at are you liking the content or not. Even if you're smiling, a little grin on your face, or even a little bit of shock on your face, that is detected by the cameras of your phone, and that is fair much enough for them to see that are you involved in that particular content or not. And that is how the algorithm runs. So now, if you see the second line, the psychological comfort and escapism. So now, as I told you, that whenever you feel stress, you would always see a kind of nullifying that stress, and we have the nullifying of stress is usually done by dopamine. So now, if you have a certain kind of, if you're already stressed and you want to have an escapism, you will always see that emotional discomfort is something that I want to do, and coping mechanism over here is looking at your phone. So dopamine would always give you that particular kind of a rush, and you will feel like, okay, my stress has been relieved. But in short, it is actually making an illusion of productivity. It is not actually giving you any kind of value. So like I am networking on LinkedIn or relaxation on phone, looking at cute dogs. You're not doing that. You're not relaxing. You're actually putting yourself onto that dopamine loop that is there. Yeah, hi Edwin, welcome. Okay, so great. So almost so this is like I was talking about, like how we are addicted to a lot of application that are there because they know our brains very well. So now the second thing that, or the third thing, is overwhelm and decision fatigue, because our brains are very good at conservating energy. Our brain are designed to reduce as much of energy utilization as much as possible. So even let me give you an example of WhatsApp. If you go on WhatsApp and if there is a 16 line message that is coming in any group, and if there is like 4 line message that is coming in a group, you'll always go for the 4 liner message. You won't go for a 16 liner message. Why? Because you would always avoid the cognitive load that has been created by in the activity, anticipating that 16 lines is a much more work than a 4 line. This is an again a way of how our brains are. So usually we get overwhelmed by the activity, but if you reduce in chunks, we'll always go for those particular activities. So what application have done is they have made their application as simple as possible. They only have certain clicks, swipes. So you will see all those particular, going to the next part is all gesture now. It is no more of clicking buttons, it's all gestures. So you will always see the app which is more gesture rich than clicking on any button or going to any part. So that is also going up. And as I told you, the algorithmic manipulation is there. More personalized algorithms are designed in order to create content and align content as per as your interest, which will make a constant rabbit hole for you, which is created, and which will give you a constant a dopamine hit as you go to the next reel, to the next content, to the next content, and keep you engaged in that particular part. So this is where why the addiction is there. Now the fourth and the fifth part of this part is lack of immediate consequences, because physical consequences are very much evident for us, but mental consequences is something that we are not aware that they take a lot of time to become an habit and then manifest into a physical element that is there. Because even if you look at the way you have been utilizing mobile phones right now, the physiological changes that are happening on the vertebrate column, that is also because of the constant bend into our spine cord, because of which this particular part is there. And even the same thing happens with our brain as well. If you are not utilizing, if you are only looking at any kind of content which is repetitive and cognitively low and not challenging, that is going to create one of the habit that is there, which is going to damage your prefrontal cortex. So now what is prefrontal cortex in your brain? It is the thinking and analyzing part of your brain. And your limbic system, or your limbic part of your brain, is more of an impulsive part, which talks about or which looks about the danger, the impulsive part that is of the content. So this is where the lack of immediate consequences is also parting up. And the most important part is the fear of missing out. That is a social comparison that is there, fear of missing out, and cultural norms. These all together, all these factors and loss of identity or connection, this all things are making a certain kind of perfect storm for everyone to get into that particular rabbit hole and never come back. So this is where we are making, or this particular loops holes that are there into our the way of pattern and cognitive level. The scientists or the neuroscientists know this particular addiction can be possible if you are able to provide those simulation into the social media apps. So this is how they are designing it. So this is what is the future of human being. So meet Mindy. Okay, out of future by 2100, this is what we would be. So next 100 years, if you're not able to make any kind of changes in ourselves, we are going to be all looking into this particular part. We are going to be all into this particular realm wherein we will see there is a bend and arc. You will see the mobile phone, if you're utilizing mobile phone for 6.2 hours every day, and this is going to rise up because as the technology get more immersive with the VR set, like Apple goggles are there, Google goggles are there, the content is going to be more immersive, and we are going to develop a physiological deformation because of this particular spending time that is there. So this is the next thread that is coming up, that is there, that always there. And one thing that I want to talk about more is the broken recruit rewards circuit that we are feeling right now. It is because every app is now short content base. There is no app which has a long content base. Only now it is restricted to podcast and any kind of talk that is there right now. Because what happens, as I told you, like in our olden days we used to have this particular kind of a ritual where every was to sit during after dinner time. We used to sit with our older parents and they used to tell us stories. These part has already gone because reading stories and being imaginative and creative has always positively stimulated our brains. But because of the other part that has happened, because of the randomness that is there of TikTok, if you see that TikTokification, I would say the infinite scrolling that is happening, we are not able to get the idea, the flow of idea that is there. Because when you go back to a any kind of what I can say novel, if you look at the novel, you will always see, and you were reading that particular novel, you will always go from one thought to another thought to another thought, and that is how the built up is created. But in TikTokification or the infinite scroll, you are not able to retain any information that is there. So that is what is happening over here. So every scroll promises something exciting, but rarely deliver any depth. So I can challenge you, whatever you have watched, if you have watched any reel right now, can you just recall 2 or 3 reels that are there? So are you able to recall what is there that was there into that? What content you have created? What kind of value that you have derived from that reel? So that is like very much, we don't know how much of reel that has gone by, but we are not able to encapsulate the entire knowledge that has been gone. So because that is how the algorithm always dangle you on reward in form of like, share, and dopamine hit, keeping us coming back to further more, because this is how we are designed for those particular part. So now what has happened is TikTokification that I was talking about, that we say that alcoholism, in past 50 years, it was always recommended that if you're above 40, little bit of alcohol or little bit of wine is good for you. But now that particular new scientific studies has came out that alcohols are even 1 milligram is actually poisonous. So poison is poison. That is what a lot of studies has come in. So it was recommended first because of the lobbying. The same thing was like 70 years back when cigarette industry was there. Doctors were recommended to smoke. So that doctor used to recommend smoking and doctor used to smoke. So there was certain kind of pseudoscience attached to that particular smoking habit, that your stress level, your masculinity can be increased because of smoking cigarettes. So that was also again, now we know how harmful cigarettes are. The same thing is going and is really same conditionings are done by TikTokification that is there. So now every app, if you see, TikTok has become the, what I can say, a parameter, a golden standard of how to engagement, how to derive engagement into your application or content driven data. So everybody, if you see, Facebook has also come up with its short short content. YouTube have also come up with the short content. Instagram was always there. Now WhatsApp also have a short status that is there. So now you will see that even Netflix, if you go on Netflix, you will always see that particular infinite scroll that is there on the UI that is there. If you go on Amazon, Amazon also have a infinite scroll that is there. Why they are doing this? Because they want your complete attention, and there should be there should be this kind of fear that am I missing out on something? Is there something that I'm missing out? So now you'll see everybody is following that particular content, and that is putting on us on a constant hamster wheel of content consumption. So what is new? What are the new product that is there? What is a cute cat is doing? What are the different plan that I can go for? What is it? What my friends are doing? What are they are doing on a vacation? I have to go on LinkedIn on to see what my colleague, which certificate he have taken in, which company he's working on, what he's doing right now. So now this kind of hamster wheel that is going on is creating a kind of a mental stress which we are not designed for. Our forefathers were never exposed to such kind of in content. So if you give anybody mobile phone of anybody who was like 100 years back, if you go back in time, and if you show them the kind of content, and if they view those kind of content, it's a pure kind of an dopamine hit. It's like a cocaine. They won't be able to get out of it. So that is where this kind of hamster wheel is invented, and we are pulled into that. All right. Okay. So as I told you, virality is there, and hypersimulation. Now hypersimulation is actually reducing our attention span to 9 seconds. That has been proven, and that has been ramping up. And it was 12 seconds in 2000, and it was like almost like average attention span of human is 8 seconds, and now it is 9 seconds of. And why we're comparing this? Because goldfish and us, like goldfish is like a little bit more than us. It is like 9 seconds, and we are at 8 seconds. So this is what is the actual problem that we are facing right now because of hyper simulation environment. Because there is constant notification, constant something that has to be updated. Constantly we have to reply to something. All right. So this is where we are feeling this is what is the reality right now. We are feeling like we are caged in this particular information avalanche that has been pushed to us, and this is actually burning our entire the way our neurons are interacting with each other. It is overstimulating us. Our receptors which are there into our brains are actually getting withered, because of which the depression and anxiety are ramping up in today's world. So this is also called as doom scrolling, that we are effectively so looking at us. Like if you see your face, sometime you try and record your face when you're looking at reels. Try your take anybody, any family members of yours, and tell him to record when you are going through this particular phone, and try to capture your emotions while you're going through that particular reels, and you will be shocked. You will look like the same person who is over here, emotionless, no matter whatever emotion has been pulled in front of you. Okay. So this is what we are doing. But now what we can do about it, how to combat, okay, what are the strategy to combat brain rot? So whenever you're going on content, whenever you are going to any kind of application, make sure that you have a curiosity driven content consumption. Don't usually go without any agenda on the internet, because if you go without any agenda, internet already have an agenda for you. Application have an agenda for you. So always make sure that you have a specific interest already allocated for you, and then you will go and only search that particular content. Okay. Because what happens, we usually do that particular window shopping that is there. So mind also have that particular idea that when you go to DMart, at the checkout counter, you will always find that small chocolate box that are there, or small small items that are there, which you tend to get into your cart, which are far more expensive than what the rate is. So this is where you have to be curiously driven content consumption that has to be there. So you have to plan your content consumption on the application, because the application already have the agenda. Secondly is creative engagement. So actively creating and shaping content or sharing content can stimulate the prefrontal cortex. So what you are doing is, if you are viewing any content, share with your friend and try and discuss on that content. Don't just, and start to take what is the learning out of that. Okay. So like promoting awareness, reducing dependency on passive consumption. So don't just go on scrolling. If you have a content, if you have a podcast, if you have a book review, make sure that you are creatively engaged. Go into the comment section, read the comment section, reply to that comment section, engage with the content. Don't just scroll it. Okay. Passive consumption should not be there. The third thing is the setting boundaries. Establish clear time limits for social media. Let's have social media at the end of the day, because what happens if you go for the first thing in the morning itself, you are going to ruin the entire schedule of the day, because you are already high on dopamine, and dopamine is really required because we exhaust our limits of dopamine throughout the day. If you are utilizing entire dopamine in the first 2 hours of your day, you will feel lethargic entire day. Dopamine is like a resource for you. It is like given in a ration. It will be like 5 kg would be given to every day. But if you utilize in the first half of the day, the entire day has to be pulled out by, either by overconsumption of coffee, or even going back to the social media, and the cycle repeats again itself. So make sure that you limit your time at least 1 hour, and that too for a long content, not a small content. Or reels, I would say. Reels are far more damaging than the longer content. So even if you want to watch a movie, go ahead and watch the movie. And I have seen this in our theaters, and you might have also seen this, people are like going through their mobile phones. If the movie is going somewhere, like it is not boring. Somewhere, if the movie drops the entire interest, people pull out their mobile phones, and in the theater, you can see people watching their mobile phones. So I have seen this particular part. People were checking YouTube on Pushpa 2. Okay, Pushpa 2 movie was going on. There was certain drop in that particular excitement. People dropped the phone. They started looking at reels. So now they are constantly want that particular dopamine hit. They don't want anything that is not stimulating. Okay. So nurturing connection is also important, because whenever you are meeting with your people, make sure that your online meetings are reduced and offline meetings are being really taken up ahead. Because why it has happened? Because when you are interacting with, physical interaction is there, or one-to-one interaction is there, it is also stress relieving, but with people who you understand, not with people who give you stress. So make sure that is also there. Okay. And strengthening the prefrontal cortex is really important, because what happens in this, the entire consumption that we do without a consent, or nonsensical consumption that we don't engage our prefrontal cortex. Now, why prefrontal cortex is important? Because it will give rationality towards what you are consuming. Because when you are going into this particular dopamine loop that is there, this is where the amygdala of your brain is activated, and which is very much impulsive. It is not an rational thinking part of your brain. It is more impulsive, and that's why you will get angry or frustrated. But when you have a prefrontal cortex jumping in, it would always give you a rationality behind what anger you are going, or what kind of content you are going. So in order to do that, you have to strengthen your prefrontal cortex by getting into activities which will activate those particular parts, such as problem solving, creative tasks, puzzle solving, sudoku, designing, mandala art. So these are some of the things that you can do. You can write, you can publish, you can do other things. Rather than utilizing ChatGPT, just write, do journaling. That will also help you. Okay. Regularly practice self-discipline and can help you in resisting the compulsive nature of digital content. Now, this I told you, the boundary setting is very important. That can also if you create a discipline, that would also strengthen your prefrontal cortex, because prefrontal cortex is also disciplining part of your brain. So that is also important. And seeking resources that provide exercise, strategic, specific design to enhance prefrontal cortex functioning and combating brain rotting effectively. This is what I told you about. Problem solving and creative task is something that you have to get into. So these are some of the strengthening cortex, prefrontal cortex activities that you can do. And if you start doing it right now, there would be a lot of clarity, and it has been proven lot many aspects of our brain neurology, that if you are engaging into prefrontal cortex stimulating activities, you will always see the clarity. Emotional regulation is already there. All right. So this was from my end. I think I was able to justify the topic that was there. So if you have any questions that you want to ask regarding the content that we have created today, or the content that we have gone through, and I'm really thankful that you are not suffering from brain rot. You are able to engage and able to listen to me. That's why I think the participant that I have, like okay, Shinchana and Edwin, as always, they have prevented themselves from brain rot. All right. So any questions that you want to ask me, I would take that. We can have a discussion, whatever content or whatever was covered regarding brain rot. Is this particular content resonating with you? Have you got any kind of resonance in your life, or reality check? I would want to take from you guys. Yes, Edwin, you want to share something? Or Sinchna, even you can also share.
See, I had gone to sometimes breaks, which will be like you're closed. There's no thought process coming in when you're exaggerating on any work or something. It's like
Right.
complete shutdown hai system. Apna.
Right.
It might be that time I used to think like बहुत ज़्यादा सोच रहा हूँ क्या.
Hmm.
But then when you had put this topic, then for the discussion, I also did some research, and
Hmm.
then I understood. Okay, so then I understood the perspective. Like there are creative peoples who go on a sabbatical
Right. Right.
after some kind of time they have been with the organization. They take a sabbatical break because it is required for them to regenerate them and come back
Right.
more creative.
Right.
And
So, hmm,
another thing I found is like when we're doing the same task again and again, it becomes very repetitive, and there's the monotonous task. I think you also discussed a few pointers on that,
right.
monotonous task and detailing.
Hmm. So now that is what we are habituating our brains. Now we what we are doing is we are actually, because of this content, we are conditioning our brain to uh, only concentrate on repetitive things. And because of repetition, there is a built up stress that is there. Because as I told you, anything that is in repetition, we are creating a dopamine loop. And dopamine is a stress hormone. It is not a relaxing hormone. Serotonin is a relaxing hormone. And it is produced after achieving certain rewards which are organic, okay, not virtual. So even if you win in the game and you have certain score on the game, you will have that particular kind of a dopamine rush, but you won't have a serotonin experience. But when you go to your mother, when you have a full meal and you discuss with your mother any problem that is there, the kind of cerebral experience that you have, the voice, the touch, the warmth of that particular person, you will always have that serotonin, coming up. But that kind of experience is totally lacked. Okay, that is particularly something that is totally lacked when we are conditioning our brain due to the content that we're consuming. We are consuming content which is making us hyper stimulated and expecting the same kind of interaction in a real world, which is very dull. The problem is like our real world is dull. As I told you earlier, that our real world is not that much of colored, that much of bright, that much of immersive as the screens are. That's why the screens seems more interesting, because the nature is very pastel. If you see, we don't have a bright red color of any apart from flowers, because they have a certain utility for it. So but if you look at nature, the red color is really rare. It is only for flower, unless and until you have planted all red roses in that particular garden. But if you go on nature, you will have a small hints of bright part. So when you do this particular, and when you are like looking at the content which is bright, and if you even see the children challenge, the Coco Melon videos, they are also very bright.
I was
Why they are?
going to tell about
Yeah,
that.
the bright and the round figures. They don't have an edgy cartoon. They have a round cartoons. So if you see,
Yes.
all the shapes are round. Why the round? Because round gives you a comfort. Round, if you see something round, it gives you comfort. So if you have soft type, they are round, they are soft. Why? Because they give you comfort. Your pillow is soft, it is not edgy. Okay. So whatever comforts. So even brain also decodes the entire color scheme, the kind of music, the kind of appeal that is there. And it is highly curated. It is highly designed. And when you go back to the reality, this is where the delusion happens. That what I was talking about. That delusion is part there. That is also there. So really good input. So I think one more participant is there. Sinchana, you want to ask something? You have just put it into something into chat.
I had put something,
Okay.
a lot of content.
Information get from hello platform.
I,
Okay.
I was looking at the context with relating to
Huh.
HR, because now I'll say how do I was connecting is already a lot of people will have this brain rot thing, but they will
Hmm.
not know that they're suffering from that.
Right.
And then we have now multi generational workers.
Right. Right.
So how do I engage with all of them when
Hmm.
there's a challenge now?
Hey, the only thing, first thing that you have to do is, as I told you earlier, that first we have to address the discomfort that has been caused. So we have to have the awareness of this particular generation, because right now I had just gone through this particular study. What was there, that 30% of management or leaders avoid Gen Z to be employed. They don't want Gen Z in their workforce because of lot many aspects that are there. But apart from that, these are the generation who have been raised by mobile phones and social media more, and these people are now employable in terms of mature kind of workforce. That is what we are looking at Gen Z. But because of the habitual part, or the way they have been molded, the entire absorption of into workforce, the kind of attributes that are required, that are not there. So when you are interacting with this particular part, is first of all you have to identify which generation we are dealing with, how we have to talk with them, because once we have to understand the behavioral pattern of them, if they are involved into this kind of habitual part, first of all we have to create awareness program and align them with habitual correction, habit correction programs, rather than just having an awareness, because habit correction programs are far more important, and making them realize that this is what the issues are. So this is where we can connect with those people, what I feel like.
Absolutely, I can correlate, because
Hmm.
lot of times we don't say about, we only ज्ञान दे देते हैं.
Hmm.
How do we want to impact, or do the correction is not told. That's the
Right,
right
right.
way to put at it.
So I think once we are able to एक तो होता है ना कि how to make people sober who is on alcohol addiction is like get them rid of alcohol first. If they are like, because of the alcohol, the nuisance is happening. Okay, that is what we are saying. Because and right now the kind of content that we're looking is at mobile phones are equivalent to cocaine addiction that we are talking about. Okay, now the addiction and the kind of brain activity that has been recorded because of usage of mobile phone highly simulated environment, it is equivalent to cocaine. So now once you get this kind of hit into on your screen, real life is going to be mundane. So this is where you will see that management are trying to, what I can say, correct the behavior by making the content shorter, which is not the right way. It is like making them ready to or habituate them to learn the longer content. Now, why it is important? Because when you read a book, as I was telling earlier, that authors are also now taking a route of creating micro books. So they are like 50 pages or 60 pages book that would be coming up. Okay, that what we used to have comic kind of in books that would be have. But
Monthly
that is
or
really
weekly
stealing away
edition.
the entire idea of what has been established through book. It is like a talking to that particular person. Every book is like talking to that particular person in person, because that is how the thought, the train of thought is what we are able to see. So if I want to
Absolutely.
just look at Edwin's biography, it won't happen into 50 or 60 pages. It would always go to like 500 pages, something like that. Why? Because there would be a kind of a progression towards how we go. So even if you go for sagas and lot many like Ramayana was never a 60 pager book. Okay, or Bhagavad Gita was never a 60 pages because it is still adding up. Okay, so because why? And when you are reading book, you are one is like you are also walking with the thoughts of that author. You are also thinking in that particular dimension, and secondly, with that you are also increasing your focus. So that there are two things that are happening. Your thought is also improve and your focus is also improve. And focus is like a muscle. We say that I need to focus and I need like a kind of a magic wand कि मैं बैठूंगा meditation के लिए, and after doing meditation I will be like 2 hours I will be focusing. No, focusing is try to be resilient about your distraction. That is what the only thing focus is what. Because as I told you, what you remove, whatever remains is what is good. But the thing is like उस पे कोई कचरा आ गया है. It is like dust that is happening. That's why it is there. So even if you do in Japan usually have this particular mindful breaks that are there. So most of the organizations are doing this particular practice. Like after 45 minutes, they would have a mindful break, and it is not going on your phones. It is like just strolling in that particular vicinity, practicing your breaths. That is what they are inculcating. Not or having coffee is also not there. So that is like making the environment as low simulation as possible so that your focus can increase. That is what is there. Because simulation is kya hai? It's a distraction. It is a disruption of your focus. That is what simulation or highly simulated environments are. Okay. Okay. Any other question, Edwin?
Good to go, man.
Okay, Sinchana, anything from you? Are you still there or have you left? Yeah, I think she's still there. You want to say something? If you want to, any question that you want to. By the way, Sinchana is like, are you a millennial or are you a Generation Z? I just want to know. You can type it if you want to. You are a Gen Z or you are in Generation X? What you are? Okay, yes, type something. Okay, Gen Z. All right, all right. So, are you facing these issues? Are you facing a distraction? All those things that are happening? Okay, almost 21. Okay, you're far more younger. So, do you think that this particular issues that have been mentioned into this particular session were they related to you? Are you feeling that issues are happening with you right now because of the content that is being pulled? So, I just want to know what roughly how much hours that you spend on your mobile phone. You don't have to share that, but definitely it would be more than 3 hours. So if you go back to your screen on time record, which where mobile you utilize, you will always find how much of time you are spending on which application. And the second research that you can do is going on to your search history and looking at your playlist that is there. So if the content is really helping your career, then you are on the right path. If the content is such that is not helping your target goal, whatever goal it is, I'm not saying career, but whatever your goal is. Let's say I want to be a coach, if I want to be a entrepreneur, if your YouTube search history or your algorithm shows those kind of videos, you are on the right path of content consumption. Otherwise, you are just going there for entertainment and diversions. And this is how the brain rot would happen. So that is one recommendation I would say, that as I told you earlier, that the content has to be, first of all, you have to see in that, are you making a curious driven content, consumption? That is more important. So make a plan and then accordingly that go on to the network and then only search those particular things that I will have only two podcasts that I will look into and I will take note and I will learn for that. That is what it is. Almost YouTube, you have much watch time, almost more than 6 hours. Okay. I hope 6 hours you are spending on long content and not on reels. All right. Okay. Good. So if you're doing that, then I'm really happy that yes, okay, mostly study and stuff. So, okay, good. Then I'm really happy. I'm saying that one of the Gen Z is on the right path. Okay. Great. Yes, Edwin, you want to share something?
No, good. That I'm sorry that I missed the beginning part, but
No issues.
we'll have a discussion and we can take it up.
Surely. We can have this discussion. If you want to plan any session at your company, I would be happy to, conduct any of those. If any of the, if they require certain kind of enlightenment on that particular part, definitely we'll talk on that. Great.
Absolutely.
So I would say I would just conclude this session. I was really happy that you guys made up to this particular session and it was interactive. I hope I was able to do justice to this topic by explaining what brain rot is and was able to demystify certain elements of that. This is a huge topic, and as I told you earlier, that this is only a beginning. This is something that we have to do together in order to avoid this kind of mental illness that is going to sprung up into lot many aspects that are there. We are just in at the tip of the iceberg. There are a lot many darker issue. It is not that if you are even after this particular thing, if you are not able to, you're struggling with that particular part, if not able to focus, concentrate, or there is a brain fog. As you know that Wisdom Seed already work on that particular part wherein we assess people, we give consultation, and also give awareness about the programs that are there. So great. So thank you so much, Edwin, and thank you so much, Sinchana, for being on this particular discussion with me and patiently listening to me. And we can catch up with our next discussion, which is going to be in next week. Thank you so much, and have a great night ahead.
Abhijit, she wants
Yeah.
to connect with you. I think you can
Okay.
ping her.
All right.
your LinkedIn.
Okay. How can I connect? Okay. All right. Okay. I will just put in my WhatsApp number and you can get in touch with me. This is my WhatsApp number. All right. Okay. Great then. I think. All right. Okay. Great. Fine. So we
Thank
will
you, sir.
get in touch. We will stay in touch. And there are a lot many series that are coming up. And together we can really solve this mental issues and brain rot especially that we are facing right now. Thank you so much. Have a great night.